Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video will be my June reading wrap up, and I was in a bit of a reading slump in June, so I only read 5 books and a half, which I normally read more than that, but yeah. I still had some good reads. I had a few that I didn't like as much, but I had 5 stars this month. So let's get into it. So I started out the month by reading My Husband's Wife by Elise Feeney. And this is a thriller. And this is my first book by this author. I ended up giving this one a 3.75/4 stars. I was struggling a little bit to get into this one. I'm not sure if I really liked the plot twist, but anyways, this book is about this woman and she just bought a new house with her husband and she goes out for a run. And when she gets back from her run, her key doesn't fit in the front door anymore, and so she knocks and someone else that looks quite like her opens the door and says that she is actually the wife of her husband, and the husband insists that the stranger is his wife. So she has to go and find out who is this woman and like what happened. And I thought the premise of this book was so interesting, and it definitely, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the plot twist, I wasn't expecting it at all, so that's a good thing. It definitely keeps you guessing until the last page, and I was convinced that I guessed the ending and I guessed the plot twist from like page 10, but I did not. So that's like, I would try something else by her, but it wasn't my favorite thriller that I've ever read, but I would still recommend it. Then I read The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. This is the first one in a duology. I'm pretty sure it's a YA romantasy. And I've had this one on my physical TBR for over a year now, and I never thought about reading it, but I don't know why. I just decided in June that I was going to pick it up and finally get into it, and I loved it. I gave it like a 4.25. Like, it's not my favorite romantasy book that I've ever read, but it was still very entertaining. So it's basically about a witch and a witch hunter. The FMC is a witch, and in this world witches are hunted, and no one knows that she is actually a witch except for one person. But basically she starts courting this guy who is a witch hunter, and he is looking for the Crimson Moth, and all the trails lead back to the FMC, so he is convinced that she is the Crimson Moth. But yeah, I thought it was fun, fast-paced. I liked the characters, I liked the storyline, I liked the way it was written. It's just a lot of fun, and it's only a duology, so it's not like a big commitment, so I would definitely recommend it if you just want something quick and easy, and if you just want to have a good time. And then I read my most disappointing read in June, which is The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs. Now, I wasn't expecting anything from this because the Goodreads rating average is quite low. It's like a 3.5, I'm pretty sure. But I was like, you know what, it does still sound fun. It's basically a YA romantasy. I'm pretty sure it's YA. It's basically Legally Blonde meets medieval fantasy, and I really like the Legally Blonde movie, so I was like, it sounds like a bit of fun. It wasn't really. I was struggling to connect to these characters. I didn't really like the pacing of the book either. I liked the idea of the book. I liked the idea of the story. I just didn't like how it was written and how the story was developed. And I got bored, so in the end, I was kind of just skimming through the pages. It's basically about her, who is a princess, and she wants to marry this prince. And she had everything all planned out, and then he refused to propose to her because he wants someone stronger, someone more like a knight for his kingdom, and that she is too weak. And he is going to this military academy, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to do it too. I'm gonna become a knight. Because after all, how hard can dueling be? So she goes to this military academy, and then there's this warrior at this academy who helps train her, but there is a war going on as well, and the war is getting closer and closer. That's basically the story of this book. But I thought the politic side of this book was just very boring and not interesting at all. I love a good school military academy setting, but this just No, I ended up giving it a 2.75. And then I read my favorite book of the month. And I finally read a 5-star book. And it's Riftborn by Greenwich and Lennox. Now, I heard mixed reviews of the first one. I've heard amazing reviews of the second one. Now I still have to read the second one, but I already loved Riftborn, so I'm so excited to get into the second one. This is an adult romantasy, but it is quite heavy on the fantasy, but I love that. I love the characters in here. I love the found family and the love interest. I just loved everything about it. So this was a 5 stars for me. And it's about this girl who is a Riftborn. And a Riftborn means children who were saved from the destruction of their homeland, Riftrumur, and brought to the Isle of Sight. Before they were granted citizenship, these refugees were branded with a symbol of unity on their left wrist and hand. Most were raised in group homes throughout the Isle and were expected to assimilate into Sight culture and society. So our main character is a Riftborn, but she is keeping a secret, and that is that a hidden power is growing inside of her. And then there is this general who is a general of the guards, and he is building a unit of wielders because there is a threat going on outside of the borders that is getting closer and closer. So yeah, he needs to have some powerful wielders, and then she accidentally shows her powers to him. So he's basically gonna give her 2 options. It's either join the guards or face execution. This was so well written. The story actually kind of reminded me of The Princess Knight. There is a bit of military training and the war happening, getting closer and closer. But this was just an amazing story. I personally thought I liked the way it was written. I loved every character in this book. I felt really connected to them. I was interested in the politics sides of this one. And yeah, I'm so excited to read the second one. I still have to go and buy it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the series. And I'm so excited to continue with it. And then I read Bewitched by Laura Talassa. I ended up giving this one a 4 stars purely because of the FMC. I loved the FMC in here. She's really funny. The MMC, I don't like anything about him. I did not like him at all, but the story was still a bit of fun. It's basically about this witch who wants to join this coven, but every time she uses her magic, she loses one memory, right? So the coven isn't really sure if they want to accept her or not. So she has to go on this quest to awaken her magic. So she goes and books a trip to South America, but then the plane crashes and she ends up in the wilderness. But because of her magic, it awakens when the plane is crashing. So she saves the plane, but yeah, they do end up in the wilderness. And she starts hearing this voice in her head. So she finds the source of the attack. She finds herself awakening an ancient evil. So this ancient evil, he was cursed by his wife. And he mistakes the FMC for his long dead wife. But she managed to escape him, and then she gets accepted to this coven. But then he shows up. And ever since he showed up, witches are found dead around the campus. So, she's trying to figure out if it's him or something else. So she has no choice but to ask him for help. But yeah, he has plans for her, and those plans will change everything. It was a fun book. That's all I have to say. It was funny, and the story was, it's a book that was really easy to get into. I was into it from page 1, and I read it quite fast, and it definitely helped me get out of a reading slump. But then I tried to start reading other books, and I just couldn't. I tried so many books, and I just couldn't get into it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to read a book on my Kindle. So I started reading Into the Blue. I'm 75% in, and I have some thoughts. I'm not sure how to feel about this book. I've heard so many good things about this one. I think I'm gonna be happy once I finished it. I want to keep reading it, and I am into it. It's not giving me a good feeling. I like books with drama, and Boys of Tommen is my favorite series of all time. But this book is just, I don't know. I think it's the communication between both the MMC and the FMC. It pisses me off. It's so annoying, and I don't think I'm the biggest fan on how this author writes. It just drags a little bit. I'm a bit bored. But yeah, I am curious to see how it ends. So I probably will finish it today. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Into the Blue. I did not have the best reading month, but I did find one 5-star. And the other ones were fun as well. So not too bad, and I hope I'm gonna read more this month because I have so many books on my physical TBR and I want to read all of them. Just I can't keep up because I don't read that fast. So anyways, that was my June wrap up. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope to see you next time. Bye!